Welcome to North of the Broad. I'm your host, Robin Zimmerman, and we bring you our show from the Pat Conroy Literary Center, and a friend of the Pat Conroy Literary Center for many, many years, and a colleague of Pat Conroy's is Stephanie Austin Edwards. She's my first guest. Stephanie, good to have you with us.
Oh, thanks, Robin. It's great to be here.
Let's begin with your relationship with Pat.
Pat. Well, Pat and I go way back. We go to high school together here, and he and I actually were on the literary magazine together.
Okay.
And it was something I didn't discover until many years later when I went back to an annual and realized that they had taken, even though there might be 30 people in the literary magazine, there were 5 of us that were section editors. And so we're in a panel in a very large picture. And I thought, oh, this is so much fun, having watched Pat's career. Once I was in New York, I got to watch Pat's career.
Right.
But he played basketball with my brother, so I would always be watching them. And Pat and I were in French class together. He was a few years older than me, but we did classes together anyway.
Yes.
And so it's just great to have known him before he was the famous author.
Right. And you're an author. Your latest book, let's hold that up. It is What We Set in Motion. You're working on a new book. You want to mention this first and then talk about the new novel?
Yeah, this one is What We Set in Motion, won a Best Submission Award from the Atlanta Writers Club Conference. And actually the cover won a Gold Award for its depiction of telling the beginning of the story of this book. And it takes place in the Lowcountry, moves to New York, and then comes back again. But it's a journey story of a young woman who's deciding, what do I do, when she explains to her father what she's going to do after college. And the father answers, if you go away anyway, don't ever come back.
Oh, wow.
And it is her journey to follow her truth, but figure out how to keep her family relationships at the same time, which is not always easy.
Oyster Island, what is that about?
And Oyster Island, in the process of writing this book, and it takes place in the Lowcountry on a series of sea islands that I won't necessarily name by make them the real places. There's an island called Oyster Island where Bebo has been a medicine woman, and she's a 5th generation medicine woman, and her granddaughter comes to live with her. And in the beginning of the story, Bebo, who creates all kinds of herbal compounds that help people with a variety of illnesses and diseases, etc., because they can't afford normal medicine. She is found unconscious on the floor of her home when the granddaughter comes home from high school to give her some good news, and it turns out somebody wants something from Bebo, and it's a mystery about what it is and how they're going to keep it to themselves.
Now, when is this going to be finished?
Good question.
In the meantime, you're working with Pat Conroy, Camp Conroy.
Camp Conroy.
And you'll be there this week. And so what is your role with the camp?
This time, it's about the same as I did last time. So I'm going to segue back to, I've been running a writers group here in Beaufort since 2002. When I moved back here, I decided that I needed the support and the impetus to get this novel out. So I started asking people, did they want to write? Do they want to be in a writers group, etc.? And so I've been doing it twice a month since 2002, which is a long time for a writers group, because writers can get their feelings hurt really easy. And Pat, the segue that Pat used to say to me, how's it going, Stephanie? How is that writers group? He says, writers groups for me are the meanest people I ever met because people weren't handling them right. So we teach people to critique each other's work, and they learn as much from being critiqued or critiquing others as being critiqued. And there's a method to do this that you can get the information out there without it hurting people's feelings. And so I'm going to be imparting this same information at Camp Conroy to those folks who've been writing all week long, and they're ready to read and learn to listen, take notes. You won't necessarily have a copy in front of you of anything, and then offer your critique.
We have just a few seconds left. What do you most remember about Pat?
Oh, gosh.
I know you could talk on and on, but just
his personality was just so magnificent. And I got to know him again when I moved back here, and that was just so much fun. But this guy had the personality that he loved everybody, and everybody loved him, and he was so much fun and funny at the same time.
Stephanie, thanks for being with us. We'll have you back.
All right. Thanks, Robin.
And we'll be right back with North of the Broad. Don't go away.